Welcome to the IoT podcast show. I'm your host, Tom White. Today I am joined by Cyril Deschanel. Cyril is the managing director of Tele2 IoT based in Sweden. Cyril has over 16 years experience in the IoT field, and the company provides IoT solutions to a range of customers across the world. We're really looking forward to insights on the business and how Tele2 IoT has helped some of their previous customers. Cyril, welcome to the IoT podcast show.
Thank you, Tom. Very happy to be here.
We're very pleased you are here. Cyril, just to kick things off, could you tell us a little bit about Tele2 IoT? Where do you play in the IoT field, and where are you in the IoT ecosystem?
Yeah, we are a managed connectivity player in the IoT field. So we are really focusing on the connectivity piece of the whole IoT value chain. We are an horizontal player, meaning we serve all kind of application, all kind of verticals in all regions of the world. We are not offering end-to-end solution. We don't want to compete with our customers. But beyond connectivity, we're also offering some enabling services, some security services that help the customers to manage their IoT solution. And finally, we also facilitate the ecosystem development by introducing best IoT players on the rest of the value chain to our customers so that they really have the best partners for their IoT journey.
Oh, fantastic. And you just mentioned this, so you don't compete with your customers by producing an end-to-end system. But let's talk a little bit more about customers. A lot of companies have already implemented IoT, or it's in their roadmap. What should customers expect from IoT in general, and what does it bring them in terms of value?
Yeah, IoT is all about transforming assets into smart assets or intelligence assets. So you capture the data from your assets and you transform it into actionable intelligence. So the benefits, the business benefits you get from IoT is the value that it brings. So it starts from cost saving, going through energy savings as well, gas emission reduction for your sustainability agenda, but also new business model. With IoT, you can move your company from an equipment seller, from a CapEx model, to a service offer, which is an OpEx model. So then you generate recurrent revenue because you're in contact with your customer who bought your connected asset, for example. So that's all the benefit. And finally, it improves lives of people. You know, all the telecare, telehealth in these times of COVID. You can see the benefit also for people and also for animals. So that's all the benefits and the value bringing by IoT.
Fantastic. And just to go back into Tele2 IoT in particular, could you give us some examples of solutions that you've implemented for some of your customers?
Yeah, so the customer is implementing the solution. We enable them with our solutions. But I can highlight two innovative solutions. One would be from Foodora, is a home delivery company that is very innovative, acting in the Q-commerce growing area.
Right.
They have developed a connected droid with 5G and IoT in order to deliver the food with the autonomous droid and not anymore with a last mile car or bike. So that's quite revolutionary, and you can find the video on our website. But then another example would be Candela. They are developing and producing and selling electric boats, and literally they are flying almost on top of the water, and they are very stable and of course electric, so perfect for protecting our planet. And they are also connected with IoT in order to monitor the performance of the boat and to manage the battery levels. So that's the boat would not fly without IoT. That's quite a very innovative solution from Candela.
Wow. And what is the purpose of the boat? So does that do delivery logistics as well, like the first example, or is it something?
No, in that
different?
case, the boat from Candelas are entertainment boats. You know, it's just you have your electric boat instead of a normal fuel engine boat. It's more for personal use. I've not seen yet delivery with that boat, but we could suggest that to Candela. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe, right? We had a guy on talking about asset tracking for freight shipping and what have you. So maybe that's an idea. You said it floats on top of the water. Is that kind of like a catamaran, so it hovers just on top? So is that for speed? Is that why it does that?
Yeah, exactly. It's for speed. So there is this foiler, I think you call it, that brings it up, and then you need to control the stability. So I think every 3 milliseconds there is an adjustment in order the boat to keep stable, and it's remarkable. You see the video they have done in different places of Europe. So it's for the speed and for the stability. But first, it's for the speed. When you get out of the water, it's like on windsurfing or kite surfing. Yeah. When the foiler you get out of it, then you can go even faster.
Okay.
And you have a long autonomy of more than 200 miles, I think, with the boat. So it starts to get very good in terms of autonomy. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm a big fan of quick boats. Anything quick, I'm a fan of, Cyril. Usually 4 wheels on tarmac, but I can live with boats. Cyril, you've mentioned in the past that operators should have experience and knowledge around IoT. Don't all operators have experience and knowledge around this? And how has that comment come about?
Well, I would say not all operators, if I focus on Europe, there are hundreds, they have a solid IoT offer first and a solid IoT platform. So that's first. But then even the one who have it, and there are few, they don't have the expertise end-to-end in IoT. What I mean by end-to-end, it means from all the teams in the organization having a knowledge about IoT. So it starts from product life management, going to sales, going to after sales with service desks and all customer operations. In our case, the 70 people in the organization are IoT experts and 100% dedicated to IoT. Many operators are sharing resources with the B2C or with the B2B organization, so they are not experts in IoT. They are competent in many other fields. In our case, they are really competent, all of them in IoT. And if I take an example, for example, our service desk people, 24/7 service desk, by the way, they can monitor and track the behavior of your device during the last 6 weeks and analyze it. And if they detect a behavior that deviates from the expected behavior of your device, we alert the customer proactively. So we are really understanding and tracking the behavior of the customer solution. That's really expertise that you can do. And that's what customers are looking forward, troubleshooting, proactive maintenance. If you go to a normal operator, you will not get that service.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you have a really deep level of IoT knowledge within the company. Then is that right? And I assume all of these guys and girls, they're trained in house. They've learned it from scratch from within your business. Is that right?
Yeah, we have both. Most of them are senior experts that we took from the different places of the market. Myself coming from another operator and from the hardware world, some others coming from the service side or from the platform side. And then a few of them, of course, we take also some young talent and then we train them intensively. And they become more expert. And then they can even do training about our services to the customers. So that's also something we can offer. We don't rely on third parties for training our customers in order using our platform. We really provide it by ourselves. So it's a talent pool management, but also senior experts that we attract from the market.
Yeah, fantastic. Because you yourself, Cyril, you're ex-Sierra, aren't you? Wireless as well. Is that part of your background?
Correct. I started IoT 16 years ago, and I've been 7 years in Sierra Wireless. I was Wavecom before they acquired it. So It was on the module side. Every IoT device has a cellular module. And that's where I started in the hardware. Then I moved to connectivity space in Vodafone, and also around solutions, and then moved to Tele2 IoT a bit more than 3 years ago.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think that's one of the big things that people talk about is that there's a lot of people that have come into the IoT field who have been in wireless or in Wi-Fi, and I think that's a critical part of IoT now, isn't it? Because many years ago, we didn't have the levels of connectivity that we do today with the likes of Zigbee, BLE, lots of other standards and platforms in order to have all of these devices connected. And is that, in your opinion, a crucial element of how IoT is looking to transform various industries at the moment, because the hardware is now catching up with the vision of some of these projects that are out there?
Yeah, it's true that we see more and more technologies around IoT. That's why IoT, I think, is the best word before it was called M2M, because it can combine different technologies, and the customers have different needs. We need to adapt to their needs. You can have some technologies that you've mentioned. The cellular technology is the one that really allows you to remotely control all over the world your assets. So that's the one that really has the biggest reach And now maybe we'll come back to that with 5G and low power access network. You can have access to even old devices through these technologies. So the combination of the different technologies is what the customers are looking at, and the device are able to combine technologies like 5G and LTE-M, for example, in the same device. So that's and Wi-Fi if it's needed as well. So that unlocks more possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a question that I get asked quite a lot from people is 5G is obviously it's out there. It's slowly rolling out in lots of different countries. People are talking about 6G already. Generally speaking, for most IoT devices, it's quite a low amount of information that is shared, isn't it? Right, in terms of the quantity. If we're looking at sensors, we're looking at sometimes smaller amounts of data being transformed. How do you see 5G affecting that in the future, and what does that mean with the advancement of bandwidth over cellular devices for the industry?
That's a very good question, because 5G, interestingly, people reactively think 5G, high capacity, high speed. What they don't know is the low latency that is really good for IoT, because then you can near real-time monitoring any assets and streaming. But 5G also incorporates the low power access networks like LTE-M or narrowband IoT. So then you can connect every kind of sensors that is battery powered and needs to consume a little energy. But it's the same 5G technology that covers it from high bandwidth to very low bandwidth. That's the beauty of that technology, because in the past you needed to use 2G or SMS for low bandwidth and then 3G, 4G for high bandwidth, but you didn't have a single technology, radio technology that could manage all bandwidth. So that's the first time we have a technology that covers from high to low bandwidth. So you will be able to sensorize your plants, your campus, and it's also enabling what we call private networks. With the 5G technology, you can have your own network in your manufacturing plant or in your campus or in your whatever working area, construction area. So you can have your proper network and sensorize all your facilities.
Yeah, fantastic. So it's the low latency element of it, which is one of the crucial things, and perhaps something that people misunderstand, with 5G and why it's so important for IoT.
Yeah, the low latency is something that we didn't have before, so you had to wait a little bit before you can. So you could not play real time. You could not control your autonomous car like in the future. You need a fast reaction. Or think about car-to-car or car-to-infrastructure interaction. Without this low latency, it would not work. It would be too dangerous. So 5G is an enabler for all this new autonomous vehicle world, but also real-time streaming, as I said. Think about video camera surveillance. Now 5G allows that, and you really have the image on the real time. So we could do that interview on 5G. That would be the same quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a critical point to make. You can't have a real-time monitoring solution if the latency is high, because it's not real-time by default, right? And there's going to be an issue. And you talk about autonomous driving. Of course, this is from a safety perspective, it just wouldn't be possible. So again, this is part of the beauty of the world that we live in at the moment, because both the software, the tech, the infrastructure, the hardware, they're all kind of racing at different points, but hopefully meeting and converging in order to allow some of these solutions to come out to the forefront. And you guys really are at the cutting edge of this in Tele2 IoT. Going back to your earlier point, Cyril, some of the in-house knowledge is fantastic. But what about the customer side? What sort of expertise do they need in order to successfully implement IoT, to work alongside perhaps some of your guys?
Well, I think a customer really needs to take the IoT journey step by step. At the beginning, at the minimum, they should have knowledge in the hardware, whatever they buy it or they develop it, but they need to understand how the device works, the connected device. They need to have knowledge about connectivity and about software, in order to develop their IoT applications. And data analytics. That's the one I'm heading, because it's a difficult resource, a difficult talent to find in the world today, a data expert, because of course there is AI coming and machine learning, blockchain, so the data experts are very important. But when you start your journey, you don't have to be expert in every field of IoT. You can count on companies like us and many others that are experts in their domain, because you cannot build an entire IoT business unit if you are starting your IoT journey. Once you are very advanced, like BMW, they have their own IoT business unit. They still source part of it, but they have a huge unit. But if you're a startup, I think I would recommend you start buying your device from the best device providers in IoT, and we could recommend that, as we said at the beginning, facilitate the solution. And then you will have to source connectivity anyway, because you don't own a network, so you will have to source it, and then you can develop and focus the time on developing your application. But the more you progress in your IoT journey, the more you can start developing your own device by buying the modules from companies like Tele2 that we mentioned till now. And then when you become even more an expert on hardware, you can even develop your own IoT device from a chipset based in order to make it even smaller and reduce, like little sensors or beacons even with it. So there is a journey, and your expertise needs to grow following your journey, and having the right partners along the journey is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you've spoken about some fantastic use cases there. A bit more about the team and where you've come from. I'm curious to know, what does the future look like for Tele2 IoT and for IoT in general? Where do we expect to see you guys working in the next 2 and 5 years' time? Because I think that's the exciting part that our listeners would like to hear.
Yeah, let me start with IoT first, and not being selfish by Tele2 IoT.
Yeah.
But I think the future is really exciting for IoT. Even if it's many years it exists, it is still a growing business. I mean, you need to understand that now, for the first time in the history, in the end of 2020, there are more IoT connected devices than mobile phones connected, so more than 3 billion. So it is very mature, it is here. But it is only 1-2% of assets connected in the world, so the potential is just big. And with these new technologies coming, as we mentioned before, 5G and LTE-M, for example, we can capture all these opportunities. But beyond this market growing and these new technologies, I think there is something coming that we are looking at closely, is the combination of IoT that captures the data and AI or blockchain that enables even more opportunities around the data analysis and the data treatment and the efficiency in the data treatment. So that opens a completely new field where you combine different technologies. It's a bit less mature on AI and blockchain than IoT, but it's coming very fast now. And if you combine both, then it's unlimited possibilities. So we will play a role in that area, and we are already working with some partners around that. But in general, I would say our journey continues. We have a very amazing, profitable growth journey that we are successful with, and we continue, and we strive to really increase satisfaction of our customers. We've been focusing on customer satisfaction, bringing the best-in-class services, and that's what we want to continue to do in the future.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's great, and I really appreciate that overview. We've had people in the past talk about IoT and machine learning, and I think what you've mentioned there is IoT on the blockchain, decentralized, right? And the convergence of some of these, cutting edge technologies that you hear people talk about a lot, but how they're going to interlink. So interlinking with AI and the future, it's really fantastic. I was on Clubhouse the other day, and there was a lady from McKinsey and Company talking about the general size of this market, and they've revisited their figures, and McKinsey is saying somewhere in the line of $6 to $11 trillion, right? That this industry is going to be worth, and in your view, Cyril, is that going to be mostly focused around devices, digital twin, decentralization? Where do you think the bulk of this is gonna be in the future? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't think it will be one specific winning area between what you mentioned. I think all of them will work, because digital wins will be more around the manufacturing, like the private networks as well. So that will keep evolving. Decentralization will be together with blockchain and IoT, because at the end, blockchain without IoT can work on some areas, like the Bitcoin, for example, but on the rest of the industry, you need to capture data before you can leverage the blockchain power. So I would say all these fields will go. I don't think there will be one. Like we always people ask me, what is the key winning application? I mean, it's not one. There are many.
Yeah.
So I think all of them will be a success.
Fantastic. Cyril, it's been great having you on the show. I really appreciate it. Wanted to get you in front of a camera for some time now, and I know that this is the first of many podcasts that I'm sure you're going to be on, Cyril. Just so that people can find out a bit more about Tele2 IoT. I see you on social media, on LinkedIn. Where can people find out more about the company?
Yeah, no, you can go to the Tele2 webpage and then go to the Tele2 IoT part of it, where you will see all our blog posts, all our offers, all our customer feedback. So that's very active. And then if not, you can find us on the social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook as well.
Okay.
So that's where you can find us, and you should find us. We are quite vocal in the market. We are so passionate about IoT that we try to transmit our passion to the market.
I always remember you guys used to put IoT in brackets on your name on LinkedIn. I like that. I was gonna steal the idea at one point, but I thought I'd keep it with you guys. So it's very, very good. And if you'd like to find out more about the IoT podcast show, please take a look at the link in the comments. Follow us on Twitter, visit our website, and get involved in the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts on cellular IoT connectivity.